In the subjective sense of the word, considered as theological science and art, church history is the faithful and lifelike description of the origin and progress of this heavenly kingdom. It aims to reproduce in thought and to embody in language its outward and inward development down to the present time. It is a continuous commentary on the Lord's twin parables of the mustard seed and the leaven. It shows at once how Christianity spreads over the world and how it penetrates, transforms, and sanctifies the individual and all the departments and institutions of social life. It thus embraces not only the external fortunes of Christendom, but more especially her inward experience, her religious life, her mental and moral activity, her conflicts with the ungodly world, her sorrows and sufferings, her joys and her triumphs over sin and error. It records the deeds of those heroes of faith who subdued kingdoms, wrought righteousness, obtained promises, stopped the mouths of lions, quenched the violence of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, out of weakness were made strong, waxed valiant in fight, turned to flight the army of aliens. From Jesus Christ, since his manifestation in the flesh, an unbroken stream of divine light and life has been and still is flowing and will continue to flow in ever-growing volume to the waste of our fallen race. And all that is truly great and good and holy in the annals of church history is due ultimately to the impulse of his spirit. He is the flywheel in the world's progress, but he works upon the world through sinful and fallible men, who, while as self-conscious and free agents they are accountable for all their actions, must still, willing or unwilling, serve the great purpose of God. As Christ, in the days of his flesh, was hated, mocked, and crucified, his church likewise is assailed and persecuted by the powers of darkness. The history of Christianity includes, therefore, a history of Antichrist, with an unending succession of works of saving power and manifestations of divine truth and holiness. It uncovers also a fearful mass of corruption and error. The church militant must, from its very nature, be at perpetual warfare with the world, the flesh, and the devil, both without and within. For as Judas sat among the apostles, so the man of sin sits in the temple of God. And as even a Peter denied the Lord, though he afterwards wept bitterly and regained his holy office, so do many disciples in all ages deny him in word and in deed. But, on the other hand, church history shows that God is ever stronger than Satan, and that his kingdom of light puts the kingdom of darkness to shame. The Lion of the tribe of Judah has bruised the head of the serpent. With the crucifixion of Christ, his resurrection also is repeated ever anew in the history of his church on earth. And there has never yet been a day without a witness of his presence and power ordering all things according to his holy will. For he has received all power in heaven and in earth for the good of his people, and from his heavenly throne he rules even his foes. Then the infallible word of promise, confirmed by experience, assures us that all corruptions, heresies, and schisms must, under the guidance of divine wisdom and love, subserve the cause of truth, holiness, and peace, till at last judgment Christ shall make his enemies his footstool, and rule undisputed with the scepter of righteousness and peace, and his church shall realize her idea and destiny as the fullness of him that filleth all in all. Then will history itself in its present form, as a struggling and changeful development, give place to perfection, and the stream of time come to rest in the ocean of eternity. But this rest will be the highest form of life and activity in God and for God.